All right, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the Live It Full podcast. I'm Richard Fergeson here. I've got a good friend of mine, Drewbie Wilson, is going to be on the show today. I'm going to give you a little bit of his background, and then I'm going to let him knock out most of it because I feel like guests know a little bit more about themselves than I do. I don't want to screw anything up, but he is a vice president at Breakfree Academy. I would say the vice president. He's got a wonderful wife named Kayla and a little man we call Duder. So outside of that, Drewbie, you had a book that just came out. Tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we can dig into some of that.
Yeah, man. First, let me thank you for having me on the show today. I really appreciate that. I'm grateful to be here. Yeah, man. So I'm just a regular guy who's done a few cool things over the years. My name is Drewbie Wilson. For those of you who didn't know me before, like you said, I'm the vice president over at Breakfree Academy and recently became a best-selling author, which is super exciting. A little bit of my backstory. I've been in sales and marketing for probably a little over 10 years now. I've had a ton of different crazy jobs, and really my big success has come from understanding the power of serving others, being helpful, providing value, and just showing other people what's possible when you decide to stop being average and live it full, as my man says here.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that. You are definitely one that I think embodies what we call live it full in our mantra. And so I definitely wanted to have you on. I had the pleasure of meeting Drewbie about 6 months ago when I joined up at Breakfree Academy. I'm big on thinking that everybody needs some coaching, and they provide some excellent resources there to become the most elite version of yourself, as Ryan Stewman would say, who is your boss and mentor. It's one of those things that Breakfree Academy is a big deal. It's actually the first topic I had to discuss a little bit because I think it's a big part of what you do and who you are. You've got a lot of things going on outside of that, but I think that's a big deal. We've seen some tremendous growth in the groups for Breakfree Academy since I joined in September. And so tell me a little bit about Breakfree Academy, what it is, what y'all do. I'll let you give the good spill and not me.
I appreciate that, man. So over at Breakfree Academy, what we do is we elevate individuals to the top of their game. Basically, we help them match their reality to the most elite version of themselves. And so what does that mean? Well, it means that when we take a deep look inside personally and we start thinking, what does that most elite version of myself look like? Who is the happiest, the wealthiest, have the best relationships, in the best shape? What does that person look like to you personally? And then how can we help you achieve that goal to become that person? Through a number of different ways, right? So what we do is coaching and consulting essentially for sales professionals, entrepreneurs, business owners, CEOs, investors. We have programs that help people at all levels of life because we believe that, there are certain levels to life and business. And our goal is to help elevate you through those different levels to help you reach the level that you want to be on, right? Not everybody wants to be the CEO of a giant company, but if that's your goal, we certainly have the programs in place to help you get there. And a lot of that starts with, sales and marketing, then learning how to hire and delegate. And then, as you scale up, learning how to, put your money to work for you, right? Because, at some point you can only have so many hours in a day and so many things you can accomplish. So our goal is to help you figure out what to be focused on, how to keep that focused, and then how to achieve those goals through consistency and routine.
Yeah, there's a couple different things that stick out to me in what you said. We use the phrase level up almost. I don't want it to ever become cliche because I think it's an important phrase. I think a lot of people use it who may not have leveled up yet, and they talk about that some. But I think that leveling up is a big part of what I think I've accomplished with Breakfree Academy is getting myself around people who think the same way. We get in these little bubbles when we're in these atmospheres in our own lives that we don't always think there's other people out there that think the way we do. So Breakfree Academy is a nationwide thing, international. Actually, we've got a few people from different places, Puerto Rico and overseas even, that are part of it and who are like-minded CEOs, executives, at least in our group. And you can kind of go through. Can you tell us some of the different levels y'all have, just because so people will understand if they want to contact you and jump in, because that's one of the things you do there is sales. And you were recruiting people. I jumped straight into what y'all call Apex executives, which is more of the business owners, CEOs, the people who want to network with those kind of people. But tell me a little bit about the levels of Breakfree Academy that y'all offer.
Absolutely. So we have our Apex Entourage program. This is kind of our foundational program. This is the basically where you learn the skills of sales and marketing, right? And that's one of the first things that you need to learn in order to create success. You need to know how to market to find new clients, and then you need to know how to sell and close those clients so that you can help them solve their problem, because ultimately that's all sales is problem solving and then providing the solution for the person on the other end of that conversation. So that's really what our Entourage program is all about, helping you learn the process of sales and marketing and surrounding yourself with other like-minded, success-driven individuals, having a powerful network of people that you can learn from and ask questions of. Because, that, like you said, a lot of people, they have concerns that, they can't find the answers that they're looking for, or the people that they're having conversations with quite aren't on their level exactly, or don't understand what they're trying to accomplish. And so that's really what our Entourage program is great at, helping you learn those basic sales and marketing skills, and then surrounding you with other really powerful individuals who have been through that process and can help you compress time, because time is that one limited resource we can't buy more of. We can't magically come across it. So when you're able to ask questions and get advice from people who have lived through those situations, you don't have to waste your time going down a path that's ultimately not going to put you where you want to be. So that's kind of our Entourage program. Once you've got the sales and marketing skills, you become a top producer at your current business. You may consider, hey, I want to go out on my own. I want to start my own business. You become kind of the entrepreneur, if you will. So that's what our Apex Entrepreneurs program is for. It's for folks who have decided to take that step to level up, if you will, into becoming their own business owner. And, as an entrepreneur, you're kind of still trying to figure everything out on your own. So what we do in that entrepreneurs program is show you, hey, you've got these sales and marketing skills. Now let's show you how to hire and delegate certain tasks, because there are things that you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis that, aren't going to be the best use of your time. So if you want to produce more and get more done, you need to learn how to first get clear on what's important as the new business owner entrepreneur, what tasks to get focused on, and then how to hire the right people so you can delegate those tasks accordingly to make sure that you're getting everything done that needs to be done throughout the day. And again, just helping you narrow in on what's important, getting those finely tuned sales and marketing skills, getting the hiring process figured out, and then building out the right systems and routines so that the people you bring on board can be successful. Otherwise, you're just going to go on that hamster wheel of hiring, training, firing, hiring, training, firing. And that's a big waste of time that, most people, they don't want to spend that time on, and obviously can't afford that, because if you train someone and then they're out the door, you're not getting where you want to be. So that entrepreneurs program is really designed to help you scale your business to that point where you've got a few staff members who are taking care of the day-to-day tasks, so you as the owner can start working on being the owner versus just an employee, working on the business, not in the business, as they say. And then as you get through that process, you move into the executives level, kind of like yourself, Richard, where you have a business, you have, 5 or more staff, you're generating millions of dollars in revenue each year. And you're at that point where you're looking to grow and scale your business a little bit more, but also wanting to be able to have conversations with other like-minded business owners who have created, multiple streams of income, who have investments, who have different ways of generating revenue that's not just their one single business. But then also, like you had mentioned, being able to have those kinds of conversations where you can be vulnerable with somebody and tell them what your big, hairy, audacious goals are, and not have them look at you like you're crazy, or say, hey man, you're already doing well, why can't you just be happy where you are? There's nothing wrong with those people. I mean, obviously they're happy and content with where they are. But when you're rolling with the Apex crew, we all are we're living blissfully dissatisfied, as Ed Milet says. We're grateful and happy for what we have, but we also have realized that there's a lot more out there for us, and we're not just going to settle when we know how much more we're capable of. So that's really what that executives level is. It's that high tier of powerful individuals, people who are doing just crazy, amazing things, and, you know, a group that you can turn to and ask questions, become the authority, right? Become a best-selling author, speak on stages, travel the world, and really have the opportunity to network with really powerful individuals.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's you nailed what we do in there for sure. I mean, I haven't had the experience of the other groups because I did go straight into executives, which is I think some people do, some people don't. I think you have people who quote unquote level up through them. We've had a lot join the executive group since January that have come up through Entrepreneur and started out in Entourage, and so it kind of works both ways, depending where you are in life. But I think that the opportunities I've seen in there are talking to business owners and very successful people. And I think you nailed it with some of the vulnerability, because that we're supposed to be strong individuals, resilient. We don't have problems. We solve them. You know, we go through these things, but we all do. They're just different. They're different problems that present themselves differently depending where you are and what you're doing. But it's nice to have a group that doesn't have a lot of ego, that is willing to help each other every step of the way, and also provide resources, because it's pretty amazing the diversity of businesses in there. Like, you would think that, oh, it's probably just these same CEOs from these companies, but there's people in insurance, there's people in mortgages, there's people that own adult shops who teach adult training stuff. There's people who do credit repair, people who companies. I mean, so we're everything from like service-based businesses to investing to insurance. I mean, just everything you can imagine in between. And so you would think that, oh, they probably all have different problems. Well, the bottom line is they boil down to a lot of the same problems. It's just they present themselves differently, but people are people, employees are employees, money's money. It works the same ways. And so it's really nice to be around a group that I know that I can network with and trust and can give me advice. And I've got 5 or 6 different people on speed dial right now that have different areas of expertise that I can call and get help with. And it's amazing how when you're in a group like this, it's pretty tight knit, everybody will be happy to drop stuff and help you. And that's kind of been the amazing thing for me, is just seeing that side of it, and knowing that there's more out there that I can be doing to be the most elite version of myself. So tell me
I
a little
love that.
bit.
And I think one of the powers of our group is the eclectic nature, right? Because there are so many different industries represented, so many different personalities, especially, you know, like you had mentioned, there are people that have had very similar experiences to you that you're going through, or would potentially go through. And it's not just like everybody doing the same thing as the same guys across the world. It's, hey, this guy's in this industry and he's talking about lead generation and scalability. And this guy over here is in a completely different industry, but the problem that, you know, the first guy's going through is valuable to the second guy, because it may not be the same industry, but the problem is the same. And so they can take the tactics and the strategies and the ideas and figure out how to like kind of twist those to fit their situation, which becomes extremely valuable, because it's not just like, hey, we're going to do the same thing as everybody else in the same industry. It's like, hey, this lady is crushing it doing X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to kind of take a little bit of that and implement it into my business. And then you've solved a problem that you never even would have thought was a problem until you heard about it from somebody else in a totally different industry.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think it comes down to, with any small business, it doesn't matter whether you're a solopreneur or, you know, e-commerce. If you're trying to do a startup, lead generation is key, right? I mean, you have to have customers. And so across all of our businesses, that's the ultimate goal, is lead generation. And so how you get there may be different paths, but they're all pretty similar. And so I think that that's the neat thing. We all struggle with the same things, family, work balance, you know, all those things that I talk a lot about. And so I think I've got a lot of listeners out there and that will be listening that are wanting maybe to create a second income stream, what we always call a side hustle, that maybe turn into more. And that's the market that I want to reach, obviously, is the people who are wanting to step up much in the same that y'all do. And so what advice would you give people who are out there working a 9 to 5, who think that they want to do something more? What advice would you give them as far as taking that next step to get into their own kind of own kind of role and to start something new?
So I guess my best piece of advice would be, find something that you're passionate about, because if you're working that 9 to 5 and you're going to have to put in that after hours time to start working on the next business, you really got to believe in it. You got to like feel good about being willing to work that 9 to 5 and then go home and work another 4 or 5 hours in the evenings or in the mornings or whatever, you know, to make that thing get going. So if you're going to pick something, you need to pick something that you're passionate about and that you feel good showing up and doing, even when you're not making a lot of money right up front, because that's I think one of the hardest parts about stepping into that entrepreneurial role is that you don't have the guarantee of a paycheck every week, right? So now it's like, hey, I've got to go and I've got to do this work, and I've got to be okay with maybe not making any money for the first 60, 90 days, or 6 months, even maybe a year, depending on what you're working on, building that audience, getting the customers to know, like, and trust you enough to want to do business with you. So if I had to say anything, if you're going to start a side hustle, pick something that you're going to feel good doing, even if you're not getting paid immediately. And then be confident knowing that you're going to set a goal for yourself that, hey, within 6 months, I'm going to have built this up to where I can walk away from my current position. Because I think what happens to a lot of people is they're like, well, I'm going to pick up the side hustle and I'm going to make some extra money. But then what ends up happening is they're like half in over here and half in over here. And so they're still getting the same result in the end, making the same amount of money because they haven't mastered their main thing. And then, had a goal in mind of like, hey, I'm going to make sure this new thing is in place and rocking by X date so that I can make an exit from the 9 to 5 and go all in on this entrepreneurial journey. Because so many people will get hung up on like, well, I need the comfort of that 9 to 5 money, but I still want to do this other thing. And ultimately, I heard this the other day, you can't ride 2 horses with one ass, right? So you,
Right.
you
Yeah.
gotta like, you got to be willing to go all in on it when it's the right time, but you got to make sure that before you do that, you've got things in place so that you're not putting yourself, putting your family, the people that you care about, in harm's way.
And I think one of the most important things that you referenced is having the right things in place. And a lot of times I think what people lack is it's not the technical skill or even the business or the potential there. They're not surrounded by the right people. And surrounding yourself by like-minded people who have done it, who have failed, who have had successes, that's the key to it, is knowing that you have a mentor, somebody that you can call when things get hard and say, you know what, keep pushing or go a different direction, but that you're surrounded by people. And I think that's almost probably what 90% of people that I talk to lack. And that's what they're looking for in places like social media, that they don't always find. And so we've got some amazing groups, obviously, that we're all part of. Your wife, Kaylin, you have a great one, Crush and Bloom on Facebook, my Live It Full group, that are positive, good places to be, that are surrounded with people that have done those things or that are doing them, and sharing some vulnerable moments, because as well as I do, successful people fail more than most people try. And I fail all the time. And anytime you do something like even a podcast, like putting ourselves out here like this, is a vulnerability thing that most people aren't comfortable with. And you have to become comfortable being vulnerable. And I think that that's difficult for a lot of people. So let's talk a little bit about, passion, I think, leads to purpose. And purpose is what fulfills us in life. You can make all the money in the world, but if you don't have fulfillment, what difference does it make, at the end of the day? And so my big deal is helping people find their passion to help them find their purpose, the thing that gets you up in the morning. Tell me a little bit about your day, because I know what time you get up in the morning and how quickly you go do things. I'm not there yet. It is a shortcoming. We've talked about this. Drewbie and I have individually, because we talk a lot. I am terrible in the mornings. I've always considered myself a night person. So me trying to go to bed earlier and earlier after the kids and then getting up earlier has been a struggle. And it's something I need to work on. But Drewbie, tell us a little bit about your day and what you do to get rolling, because you do more before 8 a.m. than most people do all day.
Yeah. So let me kind of backtrack a little bit. The reason that I had to start this process is because I was that person, right? I worked the 9 to 5 and realized, hey, if I want to become the entrepreneur, I want to take this next step, I need to structure myself in a way that allows me to get everything done. I know that we all get the same 24 hours in a day. And in order for me to get ahead to where I wanted to be, I knew I had to maximize every minute of it. So I got on this process of my alarm goes off at 4 o'clock in the morning every single day, Monday through Sunday, starting over again on Monday. So like at 4 a.m., my alarm goes off. The first thing I do every single morning, and this is something I learned from Ryan, is I write down 5 things I'm grateful for. I focus on that gratitude first thing in the morning, because I know if I start my day with gratitude, no matter what comes at me, whatever struggles or issues pop up throughout the day, I've already started off with gratitude, and I know I can overcome anything that comes at me.
For sure.
So
And Ryan stole that from somebody else, because that's been going around a long time. The successful people do that. You're happy for what you have. I mean,
absolutely.
that's chicken soup for the soul kind of stuff, but it's good stuff. So I'll give Ryan some credit too.
Yeah, I mean, whoever came up with it originally, it's great because it really does set the tone for the day. And so once I've done my gratitude exercises, the first thing I do every single morning is I go downstairs and I do between 60 and 90 minutes of cardio. The reason I do cardio is because at one point in my life, I weighed more than 300 pounds, very unhealthy, just not in good shape. And so to me, I thought, hey, if I'm gonna, I have a 5-year-old son, Duder. If I'm gonna be that dad, the dad that I never had, I don't want to be the one who's tired and sitting on the bench while his kid's running around at the park because I'm winded and out of breath. And again, if I'm gonna be successful and make a lot of money, I don't want to do that and then hit it big, if you will, and then fall over dead and let somebody else enjoy all that hard work that I put in. So 60 to 90 minutes of cardio every single morning. Once I do that, I go upstairs, get myself cleaned up, and then I have about an hour to an hour and a half every morning that I spend with my wife and my son. We have breakfast together. We, get him ready for school. I help her get whatever's ready throughout the day. But that's like my first part of the day where I'm focused on my family because, again, I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm busy, I'm working, I got a lot of stuff going on, but it's really easy. And I'm speaking from experience here to be all in on business and not be there for your family. And, what's the point of being successful if there's nobody there to share it with? So I have to put that time on my calendar every morning where I'm spending it directly focused. I've got that. Once I get their stuff all settled in, I do some content creation for social media. I get 4 or 5 things out online, and then I get in the truck and I drive to the office. On my way to the office, I'm listening to podcasts, motivational books, something that's, going to help me be more successful so that I can continue my mindset growth and my learning to get to the next level that I want to be on personally. From 8:30 to 5 o'clock, that's work time. But what I've done there is I've structured it so that from 8:30 to 11:30, I'm working on administrative stuff, things that I can do without being bothered, not having to get on sales calls or anything crazy like that. Just focusing on, sending messages and going through the CRM, planning out the afternoon. From 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, that's when I hold sales calls. I don't do sales calls any other time. It's between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. And I do it that way so that I can stay organized and stay structured. And, anytime someone hits me up and wants to have a conversation, I'm like, here's a link to my calendar. Let's book a time. But they're only able to book in that time period because I want to stay structured. Because at 4 o'clock, I'm shutting everything down, getting myself, finished up for the day. And then I'm getting in the car to head home. When I get home from 5 until, 7 or whatever, that's family time. Again, I'm focused on them. We're having dinner together. We're spending time together. We're doing schoolwork with Duder, maybe taking them to karate or, just going for a family walk, whatever that is. But again, I have to make sure that I'm focusing time on them every single day to know that I'm getting that time in, because otherwise it would be real easy to just work. And again, that's a great way to push the people you love out of your life. So very specific about that family time in the evenings. Once Duder's settled in, we get him showered and cleaned up for the night. I might go in and make a few more little, follow-up messages or just kind of hit people up that have been contacting me throughout the day to make sure, hey, I'll get with you tomorrow, whatever. And then, we put him down around 8:30. Once he's down, the wife and I have a little bit of time together in the evenings to talk about our day. And then, I got to be in bed by 10 o'clock because that alarm's going off at 4 a.m., whether I like it or not.
Yep. And I will say that Drewbie's not BSing you here, because we text a lot of our customers from my office, from my main business. And I have never had a calendar reply back to anyone. So one of the girls from my office had texted Drewbie and he said, hey, if you need to get me, here's my calendar. These are when I'm available, kind of deal. And so he's not BSing. That's the reality of it. He basically told me to get on his calendar if I needed something, which is not a bad thing. So he's living what he's telling you. I know that from experience. But I mean, I think it's an important deal because you're scheduling family time. and you're making it intentional. It's easy to veg out and watch Netflix sometimes, but what I look at is you need those times. You need times to recharge and to spend with your crew. And maybe it is watching a couple episodes of something on Netflix. But what I've learned, if you know what time you're doing it and until what time you're stopping, you have way less tendency of vegging out on it. Even though you might need that time to not do anything else and to reflect and clear, it's still a scheduled time. And so I've worked hard on trying to zero budget my time. It's always an ongoing process. I've looked at Drewbie's calendar. It's color coordinated. I love it. It's just got kind of everything mapped out where it should be. And I mean, that's a great thing. I mean, I think that is, I think to be super successful in our environment, that you have to, it's not an option. You can't say, oh, I'll just wing it. I mean, I think it takes conscious effort and being intentional. And that's where so many people fail, is they don't know what they're doing with their time, which is our most valuable resource. It's the only one we can't get back. And so, I mean, I applaud you on that, Drewbie. So I want to get to the book, because obviously I think it's important to hold my friends up to, not just business, not just colleagues. I consider you a friend. Tell us about the book, Crushing the Day. I know that's a phrase you have. It's similar to my Live It Full. You're wearing the hat. I have one hanging in my office. I actually wore it for our last podcast video. And so tell us a little bit about the book, where people can get it, and what it means to you, and just all the details on that, man.
Yeah. So Crushing the Day, where that came from originally is, about when my son was born, I had ballooned up to like 275 pounds. When my wife and I met, I had lost quite a bit of weight. I was probably around 210. You know what happens when you get together with someone you love, you get more comfortable, you go out to eat more, you have a few extra cocktails in the evening, and it's easy to pack on those pounds. And then when my wife got pregnant with our son, that sympathy weight was real. I mean, I was eating Thanksgiving turkey dinners with her 3-4 days a week because that's what she wanted. And so I got up to about 275 pounds. And, with the job that I had at the time, I was just not real satisfied. So I was kind of noticing that I was rolling around early in the mornings and just snoozing it every day. And it's just like, man, I got to start getting up and getting after it. And so what I did is I started going down this personal development journey and listening to guys like Jim Rohn and Ed Milet and Ryan Stewman. And my whole thing was like, I'm going to get up and crush the day before the day crushes me, because it's real easy to let the day get away from you. And so I just started telling myself, hey, man, get up and crush the day before the day crushes you. Get up and crush the day. And so I just started using this like motto to like motivate myself. And over time, it just kind of caught on, and some more people started saying it. I'm like, all right, this is cool. I like this. And so the book is really how it's kind of both a story of my life up to this point and the things that I've been through. Cause I've got, it wasn't the worst childhood, but it wasn't the best either. And I've had a lot of experiences and things that I've been through that I think offered me a lot of wisdom and lessons that I've learned, some of the things that I've used to be successful in business. And so what I did is I kind of went back and I went through my life and the things that I experienced, and I pulled out some of those lessons from them, and I ended up using those in the book, right? So again, my big success, I think, is from serving others, helping others find success in their life, helping them solve problems, helping them get to where they want to be. I've always said, hey, my success will come from the success that I bring to others. So the book was more, let me go back and do a recap of my life up to this point, because I'd say right now I'm probably at the peak of my life. I'm making the most money. I'm in my best shape. I've got the greatest relationship with my wife and my son. And, I'm surrounded by just absolutely amazing individuals. So let me do a recap of everything that helped me to get here. What are some of those lessons? How can I share those with others, so that if they're in a position where they're maybe working that 9 to 5 and they don't feel fulfilled, they're not happy with where they're at in life, they want to get that little extra that takes them from ordinary to extraordinary. Maybe some of the things that I've been through could be valuable to them. And I always say that the stories are what help people, right? Because they become relatable. Someone who's going through similar situations can read those and be like, hey, I get that. And now I see why this story doesn't have to be like a struggle or an excuse as to why I can't be successful. I can flip it, turn it into a lesson, and utilize that to be who I want to be, to become that most elite version of myself. And so what I did is I just went back and kind of did a recap, put everything together. There's about 9 chapters in the book, so it's not super long, but it's a couple stories and then a couple lessons that I took out of each of those stories. And I put it together. Took me about a year and a half altogether to do it. It was one of those things where I started the book, got into it, got my first draft, and then started having some imposter syndrome of like, hey, do I deserve to write a book? Like, is the stuff that I'm even talking about, like, does it matter? And thankfully, guys like yourself, John Holly, the rest of the Apex crew were like, dude, do the work, man. Come on, get it done. And so I buckled down here in October of last year, got my final drafts and everything put together. And then we just launched the book about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and ended up going to bestseller status on Amazon within the first 12 hours, which was just an absolutely incredible feeling. And I think it all happened because of the way that I've always tried to, provide that service to others, to be there to help others become more successful. So when it was time for me to release the book, I was able to go to my network of people and be like, hey, man, I'm launching this book. Can you guys help me kind of push it out there? And not only did they help push it out there, but I mean, I think I sold 500 copies in the first 3 days to my network of people that have been there for me to support me, because I was there to support them, because I was there to serve them on their journey. They were more than happy to be there for me. And I think that's the power of a network like Apex, and for any network that you're a part of, if people there truly care about you, they will help you in any way that they can, whether it's just a share on social media or maybe picking up a copy of the 99-cent Kindle, whatever it is. But that was just such a surreal feeling to me, to become a published author and then to become a best-selling author. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. And it's just been a blessing to have so many people be there to support me and buy the book on Amazon and help me get my message out there, because they've been a part of my journey over the last couple of years to, see I live it, man. This is everything I talk about in the book is like, that's me to the fullest. That's just how I live my life and how I plan to continue living my life, because I want this to become the movement. I want people to know, hey, man, I can crush the day too, no matter what situation I'm going through. There are other people out there that understand me and want me to win. And that's really why I wrote the book, so that I could share the lessons I've learned and the things that I've been through, and hope that if it helps one person change their life and, for the better, then I'm winning. Like that's success to me. But I have a feeling that it's going to help change a lot more lives than just one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, man, you went through so many good things there. One thing you said was serving others, and I mean that's a cornerstone of what Caitlin and I are about. Serving through faith in our family and our businesses. When you go through life with a servant's heart, things are so much better, because you end up taking, it goes back to a conversation I had with Caitlin a long time ago. If I walk in and you start giving me orders, like take out the trash, do this, do the dishes, help me with this, especially when she's maybe had kids during the day and I worked, or vice versa, and you walk in and you just get inundated with that from your spouse. If you come at it from a, why are you telling me what to do perspective, or if you come at it from, I'm going to serve my wife, or I'm going to serve my partner, or I'm going to serve my children with a servant's heart, guess what? You say, you know what? I'll be happy to do that for you. And it's a different mindset, and it changes your life. And that part of that's like gratitude that we talk about. But that's a Zig Ziglar thing. I've heard him say a million times in every recording I've ever heard. If you help enough people get what they want out of life, you'll get what you want out of life. And I think he nailed that. And I think you've nailed it, Drewbie. I know that you are a servant. You're always there to help people. One thing you said earlier that I want to bring up is you said that you wanted to be the dad that you never had. And I think that that's such, we sometimes get in these mindsets that because I didn't come from this background, or I didn't come from any kind of money, or I'm this ethnicity, or this is my issue, or this is where I grew up, or I'm a woman, or I'm a man, or I don't know what I am, that you can't do things that other people have done. I think we let our backgrounds try to hold us back. And I had read a quote a while back that said, if you didn't come from a healthy family, make sure a healthy family comes from you. And all of us can be the differentiation from one generation to the next, going from poverty, or the first one to go to college, or the first one to open a business, or the first one to do anything. But we've got to get out of our own heads that, oh, I can't do that because of this. it goes back to that there's no excuses necessary. You can figure it out, but you've got to surround yourself with people like Drewbie who push you. And I will say, Drewbie and I were pushing each other to finish our books. Mine is still not done. And so there were a few texts I had with Drewbie in October, November saying, are you getting it done? Are you getting it done? And I didn't. So I got to give kudos to Drewbie. He held me accountable and I held him accountable, but I still dropped the ball a little with life hit me. And I can make excuses for it, but at the end of the day, I'm working hard. I'm going to get it done this quarter. So a little bit, tell us anything else you want to talk about today, Drewbie? Any other message you want to get out there?
You know, man, I think one of the biggest reasons that we've connected and become friends the way we have is because we both share a very similar mindset about life and family and business. And I think the cool part about it is that we both kind of agree that success is perspective, right? Making a lot of money is great and you can do a lot of great things with money, but at the end of the day, that's not the benchmark for success. You know, for you, success is getting to travel with your family and spend time with them and do cool things and make memories, live it full, live life full. That's the goal. And so, yes, you need the money to be able to do those things. But at the end of the day, the money isn't the end all be all. And for me, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, I want to make a lot of money because I want to use that money to create an impact. Like I said, my dad growing up, kind of a scumbag, kind of in and out, didn't leave us a whole lot. My mom, God bless her heart, she did everything she could to provide for us. I mean, I love that woman with my whole heart. I got mom tattooed on my neck, but I don't ever want my family to go through that situation of struggle. So success to me will be making enough money to know that my wife and my son are cared for, and my just for them, but for everyone in my circle to know, hey, it's okay to go on and want more out of life. It's okay to create the kind of life that you want to create, and know that you don't have to make millions and millions of dollars, although I'd like to. I think that would be pretty cool.
There's nothing wrong with it.
If success to you is I mean, making money is not a bad thing, but I think what's important is getting clear about what success means. And that, I think, is where you and I have really connected, because to us, success is living with purpose, creating a family dynamic that we can be proud of, knowing that we're leaving those messages and those lessons for our family and our children and our children's children to create a better life for themselves in the big picture. And like, honestly, man, that's why I'm grateful to call you a friend, because I think we vibe on that same level. And we've really made a point of just living it that way every single day.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the way you become immortal is your legacy. We all have a finite amount of time on this earth. You don't always remember rich people who didn't leave their money to good causes or to the right things. My goal is to leave legacies, and that's for my children, that's for others, but for people to look back and say, man, he did it right. And he took care of people, and he loved his family and loved the Lord. And, those are the important things to me. And so, man, I appreciate you being on today. I've got a couple rapid fire questions, I'll call them, to end off with, if you're ready. Just a couple.
Let's do this. I'm ready.
They're easy. Last book that you read?
Last book that I read, Breathe. I don't remember the author's name.
We'll check. We'll look it up. I'll put it in the show notes. Favorite quote?
Other than crush the day before it crushes you?
Yeah, we need a good one. That is an awesome one, but we need a good one. Somebody else.
Favorite quote? Do the work.
I like it. That is a good one. Last Netflix series you did binge watch?
Billions. Even though it's not on Netflix, it's on Amazon.
I'll take that too. Amazon's all right. All right, man. You got any questions for me today?
My question for you is, what date can I expect you to have the book finished?
Oh, man. Let's see. Today is March 1st. So March 1st plays a really significant role in my life. And so that's the day we launched the podcast. And so I was trying to change that a little bit, because it's the day my father passed away, my grandmother passed away, but it's also the day I opened my first small business. And so there's good and bad on that day. My birthday, I will be 37 in May. And so I'll give you that date. I won't throw my birthday out there on a live broadcast or a recorded broadcast, but let's go with May. I will have it at the publisher role.
I love it. And I'm going to hold you accountable to that, man, because I can't wait to read your book too.
No, I appreciate it, man. Give us any of your websites, give us any of your social media deets that we need for our audience to check you out, and we'll call it a day, my man.
Yeah, for sure. So anybody that wants to find me on social media, Drewbie Wilson on Facebook, at Drewbie Rides on Instagram. You can go to my website, crushingtheday.com. That's got the book, it's got swag, it's got my podcast information on there. Or you can find me at drewbiewilson.com. And yeah, if anybody has questions, wants to connect with me, like I said, man, I love helping people find their path and really get clear on what they can do to become that next best version of themselves. And so I'd love to hear from any of your listeners, see if we can't point them in the.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you being on. Look forward to seeing more of you in the future. Obviously, I've asked you to bring your wife onto the show at some point, which I think is y'all are a team, just like Caitlin and I are. And I'd love to have both you on here and let her talk a little bit about the things she's doing that are great too, man. So I appreciate it, and y'all keep it out there and live it full. Also, crush the day.